Okay, so like I said, today we will be doing the review. The chapter, I divided the chapter in 3 parts. Okay, so this is why I'm reviewing this first part again, because it is what very important. Okay, very important. Midterms exams are coming, so please, no more TV, time to study. Okay? Alright, so now, when we talk about pregnancy and lactation, like I told you, very important chapter, and we're going to do like some calculations later on. So, I divided it in 3 parts. The first part is the part related to fertility. Okay? Alright, so the second part, we're going to see the second part Monday. Alright? Second part Monday, second part of the chapter. So then we're looking at nutrition. Nutrition during lactation. Alright? So, as you know, fertility is what? Do you remember the definition of fertility?
Actual production of children.
Very good. Actual production of children. Yeah. When I was in high school, when you answered to good question, professor asked you some points. As you know, I give 10 points for participation, right? Do I do that? You didn't know? Please, study. So, the first part is about fertility. We're preparing to have children. What are the conditions? Of course, in this class, you know, we talk a lot about the mother. We didn't talk that much about the father as well, who also needs to be healthy. Okay? And the third part, we will be talking about what? Maternal health. Okay? We're talking about the maternal health and the infant. So also the health of the children, the health of the child. Because what did I say? Everything that is happening with the mother will affect the child. Alright? It will affect the child, and we look at what brings them together. The placenta. Okay? Everything is going through there, exception of what? Insulin. So, and when we talk about this health, alright, I told you we're going to focus only on 3. Okay? So we'll be talking about hypertension. We have a specific chapter on hypertension later on, as we keep moving forward. We'll be talking about diabetes. Okay? We'll be talking about diabetes, and in this case, we said that we will focus on which type. Are we looking? We're going to check gestational diabetes. We'll explain a little bit more. Okay? And the last disease we're going to look at, FAS, right? The fetal alcohol syndrome. Fetal alcohol syndrome. Here, we understand that a mother who has excess of alcohol intake is going to affect the health of her child. Okay? So these are the 3 parts of this chapter. So today I'm going to review again the first part, where we look at the fertility, we look at the fetus development. All right. So the first part, really, when I talk about fertility here, I'm talking about preconception, so preconception nutrition. Preconception nutrition. So you have the pre here before before the conception, right? Say that again?
Can't recognize what you write in
The letter? Oh, my writing is so bad, right? Okay. Let me write it the other again. Okay? So the first part related to fertility. So I'm going to write very nicely for Miss Chen. Okay? So preconception nutrition. Nutrition is okay, right? Can I just write, like the doctors? Oh, thank you, Alberto. Okay, Miss Chen is here. Preconception nutrition. Alberto, thank you for saving my life this morning. Okay? All right. Everybody is happy? I'm happy. Let's move on. Okay, so, guys, oh my gosh, I erased. Is it okay? All right. Like I told you, in chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, it was kind of an introductory material for us to now enter into the life cycle. All right? We look at the deficiencies, and we look at how we can actually prevent them. All right? So, as she said, fertility is what? Infertility is the ability, actually, the actual production of children. All right? So, when we look at it, oh, but that is going a little bit faster here. So let's go back a little bit. So what did we say here? Talking about the placenta. So the placenta, all right, the placenta here. This is where all the exchanges are actually taking place. Between who? Exactly, right? Between the fetus and the mother. All right? Between the fetus and the mother. And what did I put in right here, guys? So we have the water, cholesterol, oxygen, and everything transported through the placenta. Only the insulin, in this case, is not. All right? All right. So we talk about the other diseases later on. Now, the other element that we mentioned is what relates to what? Malnutrition. Anybody remembers what is malnutrition?
Too much or too less?
Too much or too less of what? Yeah, here in this case, we are talking about the nutrients. We're talking about having a healthy diet, all right? And in that case, we mentioned having like a good body mass index in that case, all right? We don't want to be below 18.5, and we don't also want to be obese. Okay, so something that is very important to mention here when we talk about malnutrition. Okay, so what are the risks, right? So I'm looking at the risk here. When you talk about malnutrition. So because of malnutrition, there is a risk for what? delivery of a low weight infant. Okay? So there's a risk associated with that. What is the other risk associated with malnutrition? Birth defect. Talking about the birth defect, we look at two main ones that we look at, we checked them last week, right? Anencephaly and the problem of the closure on the back, okay? So we have low weight. We can also have the problem associated with the neural tube defect and things like that. So we're going to look at them in a few minutes. All right. So these are the two defects that we often encounter when we talk about the risk associated with the children here. The first one was what? The neural tube defect, anencephaly, where the brain is either missing, okay, or fails to develop. The second one was spina bifida. This is the example of spina bifida here, where we don't have a good closure, right, on the back. I added a new picture that you guys did not have because we did not put this one last week about cases of anencephaly taking place on the brain. Either we don't have like a good closure here, or you have cases like this one as well. All right. So these are the two most common ones that you are going to encounter. All right.
What is the first one? The first picture?
Are you talking about this picture here?
No, the left. No, the left one, the baby. What happened to the baby?
Right here?
Left one. Spina bifida.
Spina bifida? All right. So here, good question here. This is the problem of closure that we have. Remember, this is when we're talking about that once the mother is pregnant, we want her to have a supplement of what? What is the doctor going to prescribe her? Not the calcium in this time. What will be the prescription to avoid this problem? Do you remember? Huh? Folate or folic acid. So usually we were talking about, in the case of folic acid here, we were talking about 400 in terms of microgram, not that much. And once she's pregnant, we then increase it to 600, right? We then increase it to 600. On the PPT here, sometimes we don't always know the origin of those things, but we can kind of prevent them by prescribing the folic acid to the mother. You understand? To avoid this type of problems. All right? Of course, sometimes I also told you we may have some interference with the zinc, but so this is what we prescribe to avoid this type of problems with the baby. Good? I got to good? All right. Another question? Okay, this is actually very important, guys, to understand when we talk about the defects that may happen with the baby. Okay. So again, how do we call the incomplete closure of the spinal cord This is what we call spina bifida, very important, and the one associated with the brain that is not completely formed, all right? Then we have anencephaly here. Okay, okay? All right. So, I'll send you the study guide. So these are the two most common ones that we're going to find. The two most common ones will be spina bifida and anencephaly. This is why it's very, very important to have that prescription in terms of folic acid. Now, I would like us to look at the small problem together. All right, let's look at a small problem together here. All right, okay, look at this question. Try to look at this question. So what do you think? Which of the following statements about nutrition and pregnancy is not true? So what does it mean? It means that I have 4 statements here, right? 3 of them are actually okay, and 1 is not okay. So number 1, what do we say? Underweight has little, if any, effect on fertility. Okay? Basically meaning that, oh, if you're underweight, no problem. Number 2, overweight men have no sperm counts that reduce fertility. We did not really mention that part a lot, but I mentioned it a little bit at the end of the class. Number 3, excess body fat in women interferes with regular cycle of menstruation. And the last one, the woman's nutritional status is more important than the man's for the developing of the fetus. All right, so look at this question and tell me which statement is not okay. What do you think?
B.
B? Overweight men have low sperm counts that reduce fertility. Is it true or false? The way to answer this question is, you take the first answer, and then you ask yourself, is it true or false? Okay? That's the way you answer this type of questions. Alright? So you go statement by statement, and you try to understand if it make, if it's actually true or not. Okay, let's do it together. Let's start with D. A woman's nutritional status is more important than the man's for the developing of the fetus. What do you think? Is it true or false?
True.
Why? Why do you think it's true?
There's the woman who is giving birth to a child, like an infant, which will be staying in your body.
Yeah. And one of the elements that we learn, we talk about the placenta, right? Okay? We have that this direct communication, basically the nutrition of the mother directly affects the child. Okay? So this statement, the last one, is actually true. Okay? C, excess body fat in women interfere with regular cycle of menstruation. Is it true or false? This one is also true. Alright? We do not really explain that part very well. Overweight men have no sperm counts that reduce fertility. What do you guys think? Is it true or false?
True.
It's actually true. Right? So I say like the health, when we talk about the body mass index, the health of the man and the woman, both equally important here. Alright? So underweight has little, if any, effect on fertility. Yeah. That's the one that is false, because what did we learn? We learned that if your BMI is actually lower than 18.5, there's a risk of you not be able to, produce healthy babies. Understand? Sometimes when you see a statement, try to first understand if you actually get it right. Okay, guys? All right. Okay, so let's look at another one here. Like I told you, I'm just trying to review some of these things with you. Oh boy, I made a mistake. No, I did not make a mistake. All right, so that's the answer. Okay. Okay. Aha. Albert, this is a little bit to come back to what we just discussed minutes ago with Alberto in terms of the folate here. So read the statement. Let's read this problem together. You are working as a nutrition consultant in a woman's health clinic, okay? And have been advising patients to make sure they consume about 400 micrograms of folate. Now you see, you guys are taking pictures? All right, so I hope it's not a picture of me, right? Picture of the screen. Last year, there's a student who took my pictures and showed me later. All right, you can take my pictures, no problem. All right, so this is what is happening when you see a problem. Underline keywords. Okay? Underline keywords here. So what do we have? You are working here as a nutritionist consultant and advising people to take 400 micrograms of folate, like we mentioned here, okay, every day. Now, one patient is aware that folate, very important, folate helps prevent birth defect, right? This is what we mentioned. Talk about neural tube defect, okay? Number two, but she's not sure why she should take it if she's not pregnant, okay? Which of the following is the most appropriate reply? Okay? Number one, the folate supplementation prevents pernicious anemia, which increases the risk of spina bifida. Number two, the folate supplementation is needed to ensure a large store that can be utilized by the growing fetus. Number three, as long as supplementation begins with the day pregnancy is confirmed, there is no risk of defect. D, the neural tube develop early on in pregnancy, oftentimes before the woman realizes she's pregnant. Okay? So what is the question? Here we say the most appropriate reply. Sometimes the language can be a little bit tricky. I think we learned that on the last class. Which means that some answers make sense, okay? Some answers make sense, some of them are not totally wrong, okay? But what we want to do is to give the most, meaning that we are comparing the answers and we choose which one we think is probably the best answer. Anybody wants to take a chance?
A.
You go with A. The folate supplementation prevents pernicious anemia, which increases the risk of spina bifida.
B.
You go B. Alberto go B. Goes B. The folate supplementation is needed to ensure a large store that can be utilized by the growing fetus. Anybody else? C. Okay. C. As long as supplementation begins the day pregnancy is confirmed, there is no risk of defect. Actually, C, it's actually an interesting point because we often talk about the first semester. But how much do we usually prescribe to the pregnant lady? Do you remember? 400 is usually what we require every day, actually. We don't need a lot of it, but this is actually what is generally. But, you know, guys, when you read a problem, don't panic. Read the problem and look for keywords. If you look at here, you have to understand what is the lady's concern? What is her problem? Her problem was, she says that she knows, all right? The lady knows that folate is good. She knows that folate can help prevent birth defect. She knows that. So no problem. She knows that. But she's not sure why she should take it because she's not pregnant. This is the key part, okay? She is not pregnant, so she's just like, yeah, I know folate is good, but I'm not pregnant, so do I really need it? This is her problem, okay? This is her problem. So does she have a point? So what can you tell her, okay? What we learned, and I think this is where we have to make the distinction. We said, okay, we need around 400, you know, but when you're pregnant, we can increase it to 600, okay? All right? So, what would be the best answer for you guys? D? Wow. Actually, D is the answer.
Wow.
And a lot of people say D. So and these are the things. This is why it's very important to take time to think about it. Again, I want to take you guys back to chapter 2, planning a healthy diet, and the type of food that we have to eat. That is not only, remember, it's not only because of the lady is pregnant right now. Our health, this is my opinion and this is my advice. I often think, and I told you, that when people plan to have children, it's a 3-year process, in my opinion. Making sure that, okay, at least for the first year, you know, these are the things that we're going to do and having a healthy diet. Because sometimes people become pregnant and they don't even know that they're pregnant. Okay? And the process, the fetus development already started. Okay? Already started. How long is the pregnancy for the full-term pregnancy? Do you know how long is it?
10 months.
In terms of weeks? Did you say 2 months?
10 months.
10 months? Wow, it's not too long. 10 months? In terms of weeks? 26? 36 is kind of... Are you guys guessing or? I mean, but you know, usually we say, you know, 38 to 47. In some cases we say 37 to 42 weeks. You know, 38 to 42 weeks or 37 to 42 weeks. So if a lady gives birth before that, how do we call that? If a lady gives birth before the term. Yeah. Preterm. All right. So we preterm, and sometimes it may happen that she gives birth after that, and then we call it what? Post-term, right? Then we actually exceeding the necessary time. Okay, guys. Chilmuni Soyo, no questions. I'm really reviewing this part because I know last week we did not really have the PPT. So the answer is that one. All right. So now let's look at this question. This one should be easy. You work with a primary care physician to help newly pregnant women plan their diet. Chapter 2. Okay? What vital information is needed to formulate a plan of weight gain? Do you understand this question? All right. Number 1 answer, weight and height. Number 2, physical activity level. Number 3, number of previous pregnancies. And number 4, weight gain preference of the mother. Okay, guys, so read the question, read the problem again, and tell me what is your answer. Remember, I told you for for this class, it's not like any other nutrition class. We really have to see the practicality of it. How can we solve some problems? Okay? So look at it. Again, you have to identify the problem. You understand the situation. And then you look at it and you're just like, okay, I think this is what I need to solve this problem. Okay? So if you go back to your PPT, you can you have the table on PPT in terms of weight gain. So what did I say? Yeah, we need to gain weight, right? Because now she's eating for her and the baby. Okay, guys. So what do you think?
A.
A. Who says A? How many people says A? How many people says B? Okay. Now, why do you choose A? Miss Park, why do you choose A? The A answer is what? Weight and height. Okay? Weight and height is the right answer. Now tell me, why did you choose A?
Because according to the BMI.
Very good. So here we need to have in consideration, the body mass index. Okay, guys? It's based on the body mass index that we are going to determine how much weight she should gain. The situation here is she wants to gain weight. She needs to put some weight on. You cannot just put how much you want in the body. And remember, we'll see that again probably next week when we'll talk about the problem of the risk of gestational diabetes, the problem of high blood pressure. Okay? So, based on your body mass index, okay, you know a little bit how much weight you can gain. You understand that? So here, for example, if the lady has a healthy weight, she still need to put on weight. Okay? She's between 18.5 to 24.9 kilogram per square meter, which is great. Okay? So, for a single birth, what is the recommendation? She should gain 11.5 to 16 kilogram. Right? During her pregnancy. Guys, very, very important to follow me on this one. Always reason. You take your time, you try to reason, you try to understand what's going on here. Alright? Don't just pick the answer. Because when I give you the problem, you're not going to have option of A, B, C, D. You're going to have a situation. Alright? Because the last question is, like I said, you have a situation. You have this situation. How can you solve this situation? How can you solve the problem? Okay?
Well,
yeah. You have a question?
it was the answer of women. Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Anyways, any question?
No.
As usual, I will stay here after class, right? Like I told you to, don't go home unless you understand. Okay? I took a time to review again this first part. I don't want you to go home without fully understand what's going on, because after that, it will actually be too late. Right? Try to understand everything that we are actually doing. The deficiency of some nutrients and the diseases associated with them. Okay? Alright, so okay, so that part, just to come back, now we know that folate is going to help for what? Neural tube defect and spina bifida and anencephaly, right? The two most the cases that we actually often have. And as you know, the problem of iron supplement, very, very, very important, right? When we talk about the blood cell mass. I didn't talk much about the zinc. All right. Okay, so the second part, nutrition during lactation, this is the part we're going to start on Monday. We're going to see the composition of the milk. We're going to see actually how much energy the mother needs daily. We look at the actual production of milk, and we also look at the mother's food habits, all right? And we look at the 3 diseases that I mentioned. What did I mention? Hypertension, diabetes, and fetal alcohol syndrome. Okay? So these are the 3 we're going to look at. You have everything on your PPT. So next week, before you come to class, go through the notes, write your own notes, come with questions, then we'll be able to move smoothly. As you know, midterms exams are coming, so just relax and take the time to absorb the material. Okay, okay? Okay, guys, so have a nice day, and I will see you next week, okay? Is it raining? All right, have a nice day. Yeah, I made a mistake. Yeah, true. Yeah. But anemia, no. You cannot lower anemia. Actually, vegetarian diet, risk of anemia is higher.
I thought that lower body weight and
Yeah, lower body. You have a pen? Lower body weight. You have a pen? You have a pen? So here it means body weight down, and then anemia down. Oh, okay. So here, if you're vegetarian, anemia risk is higher. Why? Because anemia, which nutrient of soil? Iron. Iron? Iron, where you see a lot of iron what in like meat. Ego, obsidian, red meat, obsidian, sometimes iron, this is why.
I read this sentence like
Next time, like I said, sometimes problem with English, right? Sometimes if not sure, ask me. Yeah, because ask me next time. He goes okay. Before
you talk the alcohol, you say that don't drink alcohol.
Yes.
So I think then maybe calorie is zero. So I'm
no, you're not. Alcohol, not nutrient. You are right.
Yeah.
Not good, not nutrient, but energy. So energy. So it's like cookies. Empty calorie food, empty calorie food, energy is right? But not okay. But we still have next quiz. Next quiz, if you have perfect score, you go.
Okay.
Alright?
Okay.
Alright. Annyeong? Yeah. Kilogram. This is you must add more. Yeah. It's a lot, right? Yeah, this is, you go maximum. You go like, this person is underweight. She's very small. If she's very small, then baby also head very, very small, so not very good. So here she must eat a lot. But you see, if you are already normal weight, only 11.1, you go to channel. Alright? So if you are overweight, just a little bit.
This is
No. Model. Total. Yeah. Total. This is why when you ask the question, we check body mass index, so that total weight. For example, now my BMI is 20, so I need more weight to, I need to add this. It's just reference. Yeah. So for example, let's say now your weight is what? 65. Okay? So 65, let's say healthy weight. Okay? Healthy weight, 65. So you need to add 11.5. Let's say you add 12. So you say plus 12. You go 7. You know, this is now, this is like pregnancy. Pregnancy weight.
Ah, I understand.
Understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah,
Good?
that is.
This is your pen.
Thank you.
Miss Chen, okay. Alright, show me. What was my, yeah. This is distraction. Why do you put 10, Miss Chen? Did I write 10 or did I write 20? Development is good, but then me, I got confused. Why? Because you wrote 10, but I put 20. So why do you put 10? Also, everybody got this question right. Only you, this question was right. Adequacy. Yeah. So you go chapter 2, very important. You must know the 6 principles of bad planning. Alright. So you owe me 1 point. It's going to be 8. So I will change on the system because this one is distraction. I'm not happy. No problem. Don't be sorry. Just no. You have to be focused, more careful, right? Because at the end you can miss A or A plus because you're just like, oh yeah, body. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Have a nice day. Oh my gosh, it's raining. I forgot now. Mr. Choi,
Yeah.
what's up? Do you have a pen? I forgot my pen.
What is the exact?
Yeah.
What is the exact availability of placenta? Like, what does it do?
Yeah, this is now the connection between the mother and the child. It's through the placenta that the child will receive all the nutrients. Only the estrogen is not passing by, but everything else is good.
So placenta is the cable, it's like cable.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, connected to the mother.
Through the non-break, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is where the connection is,
Oh,
right?
that's
To the belly button. Yeah.
That's the placenta.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is where you have the connection. You can never see, like if you look at the picture of the baby here, you look at this picture here, the connection to the placenta here, you have the same thing here. Yeah, so this is where you have another picture. Yeah. Okay. Same picture here.
That was on.
That was it?
That was it. So.
Okay.
Well, my attendance is it?
Yeah, I just changed it. Yeah, only Don is not here today. So everything good? So that review was necessary, yeah, because I had to go through some of the points, and I want you guys to really take a time to think how to solve problems and understand the situations. You know, so when you have a situation, don't rush. Just try to make sense of it. Okay?
I was late this morning because I woke up at 9.
Really? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Really?
When will you live in dormitory?
I live in the right in front front gate.
Oh.
So
Okay.
pretty close.
All right. Okay, have a nice day.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
We
Yeah.
have to check attendance.
Today?
Yeah.
I checked.
Because
You.
I will be absent.
Oh, when?
No,
Oh.
today.
Today absent?
No, it will be checked like absence. Because I'm late. Oh.
No. I put everybody present today.
Okay.
Usually, I will put only late after 20 minutes. You know, where is she put? Absent.
Okay.
Before, no problem. Okay?
Have
All right.
a nice day.
Have a nice day.